Hello and welcome back to my channel, Hannah Tay. I'm going to sit down and answer a question. So I asked on Instagram for questions for a video and I only got one question, and that question is a juicy one. It's from October Girl and it's, when are you and Dom getting married? And let me just say, I was like, oh, maybe no one saw my call out for questions because I only got one question. 129 of you on Instagram saw it. I went, skip. I've got nothing to ask her. Skip. So I'm going to ask again, if you have any questions for me to do, I might do a whole video on your questions that I'm going to do on this one, because this one is kind of a juicy one. And I don't know if we are going to get married or not, so I'll get into it. But if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll either put them together in one video, or certain questions I might give their own videos to, and just sit down and have a chat. So me and Dom, we are engaged. I'll put down the engagement story. It was wild. We got engaged kind of in a restaurant, and then with his parents and my parents there, and then an ambulance was called. So I'll link that down below because it's quite a funny story. Well, it's not funny, but look at me laughing at everyone's misfortune. It was an unusual engagement, that's what we'll go with, not funny. So I chose this ring. It's like a teardrop ring and it came with a wedding ring as well, so technically I have a wedding ring. I could just pop it on and just say I'm married. But we had spoken about getting married. We've been together years by that point. I only count the point of us dating with us living together, because we were, was it like 2 years we were long distance for? I think this year we've either been together 9 years or 10 years, and that's living together full time. So we had spoken about everything, and then we decided, let's get married, let's have a wedding. And I had a very clear vision of the wedding I wanted, which is still the wedding I want now. So Dom let me pick out a ring. I got it off H. Samuel's website, loved it. Then we got engaged and everything, and then the global virus thing happened, and in England you could only invite 15 people, and we had more than 15 to invite. So we said, why would we spend all that money on having a wedding if we can only invite 15 people? If we want kind of this dream wedding, then why don't we just have the dream wedding and wait till afterwards? And then we had our son, and then now I'm pregnant again. Sorry if I was talking a bit fast. I just had a bit of acid reflux. The joys of being pregnant. It doesn't make you feel like you want to burp or anything like that. It's not gross, but it makes you feel like your throat's on fire. So you're like gasping. So now we've been together forever. We've bought a house together. We have one child out of the womb, one child currently in the womb. Are we going to get married? When are we going to get married? Let me tell you first the vision of my dream wedding. So this was before I had children, and it's still my vision of my dream wedding. There is a place where me and Dom, we both grew up in Essex, so we're going to have our wedding in Essex because that's where all our family and friends live. So there is this venue. It used to be a cricket hall, cricket, I don't know, pavilion kind of thing, but it's just a glass house. It's quite small, like a big glass house that is a French restaurant now. We want to rent that out because you can rent it out for weddings, and just have a very low-key wedding. So get married in a church. I would love to get married in the church that I went to Girl Guides at, because when I was a kid we used to do this thing. I was raised non-religious. You did this thing called church parade, but you didn't have to if you were in Girl Guides, because Girl Guides wasn't like a religious organisation, so you could do it if you wanted at the local church with the Girl Guide leader. And I wasn't raised in any kind of religion at all. So what you would do is you would have a flag, and I would always put my hand up to do the flag bit, and then you got to hold the flag. The whole congregation would be sitting down. You, with the flag, paraded, that's why it was called church parade, paraded yourself around waving this flag. Imagine me as a kid waving the flag around. They gave you what looked like a gun holster to put the flag in, so you're waving it, and then you get to the front and you hand it to a nun. It was so theatrical, you know, church things that are so over the top, so theatrical. So then you have to pass. The flag just said Girl Guides on it, it wasn't a religious flag. I don't know why we were doing that. And then at that church you also did, you know, and they put a cracker on your tongue, and they give you a bit of wine, which the wine was fruit juice. I always thought it was wine, and the cracker, someone told me it was ham, and I was a vegetarian, so I thought I was sneaking meat, because my family were vegetarian. So I was oh, I'm having a sneaky bit of meat. That was the only reason I went to church parade, to be perfectly honest with you. I did because the man was very theatrical, the priest, would you call it, when he was telling stories from the Bible. He made it really interesting, so he made me more interested in religion. So I would love to get married at that church, which I believe is £200. So some churches that are run by the Church of England, you have to be a member of the church, or you have to be baptised, or different stuff. Others just say, give us your pennies. And that's what this church does. It says you do not have to be baptised or christened. You don't even have to attend the church. It's just a pretty church. If you want to get married here, give us a donation of £200. So we would get married there, or if we couldn't get married there, at the registry office where we get married. But ideally that's the church I want to get married at. Just a few people there, not like a huge thing there. I hate when weddings take the whole day, I'll be honest. You know, when it's like, okay, the wedding's at 11 and then the reception's at like 6 p.m. Sorry? Or destination weddings, no. So we would just have it in Essex where all our family is. Get married at this church and then go straight to the cricket venue, have a sit down meal because it's a French restaurant, maybe have live music, have like, I'm thinking one woman with a microphone singing, that's it, no DJ, she just does some of our favourite songs, then everyone goes home. I don't want a disco at night, I don't want a big DJ thing, I want it all to be autumn themed, I want it to be stunning. When you walk in, it's got all dried twigs with autumn leaves stuck on. I also had this vision of flower fairies, which I mentioned on the channel, because I got that whole wedding journal diary and I was like talking about it in a book haul or something, and I was saying I have this vision of the children dressed up like fairies, of little boys dressed in like little suits, and then they have the flower fairy wings on that are from the flower fairy books. So the boy flower fairies, I just had this vision that there were going to be these little boys there in flower fairy wings, which is so odd because now obviously I'm about to have my second boy. So if we do get married, there will be 2 little boys there. But at the time, we didn't have any little boys in our family. Isn't that weird that I wrote that in my wedding journal about like putting fairy wings on the little boys? Just had this, kept thinking of this vision, like these autumn flower fairy boys. And then I've got 2 boys now. It's almost like fate that was meant to happen. And then the on top of the cake, I'm going to have little Savanians. On the table, there's going to be fake autumn leaves and fake berries, and just be really like you're walking into a hobbit hole. My dress, long sleeved. I've always wanted it long sleeved, even because when we got engaged, I was like thinner. So even then, I wanted it long sleeved, buttons up the back, high neck, no like boobs out, crown, floral autumn crown, big theatrical crown, and then a veil on it, but a veil that has pearls in it. So I still think about that and I think what a lovely day, but then I also think what a money what a lot of money that would cost, renting out the venue, paying for the church, getting the wedding dress, paying for the catering, paying for all the decor, and then paying like for your marriage license and everything. I just feel, oh, we're talking thousands, aren't we? And so we would probably just DIY a lot of it, and I just don't have the motivation right now to do it, to be perfectly honest. I've got a toddler, I've got a newborn baby on the way, and then after I would want to lose weight to get married. So I just am like, when are we going to get married? Like, I don't feel like this is my last pregnancy either. So I'm like, when are we actually going to get married? I can imagine us getting married when our boys are like teenagers and us just being really embarrassing to them, but having a really romantic wedding when they're teenagers, and then doing the full autumn theme then is when I can imagine doing it. Obviously I won't like clip fairy wings onto them, but right now I just feel I don't have the motivation to plan a wedding, to DIY a whole wedding, to sort the whole thing out, and then the huge expense of it. I think I'd rather spend that money going on holiday, to be perfectly honest with you, and going on like a holiday when my boys are a bit older and are going to remember it a little bit more, than just ploughing it into one day into a wedding. Also, I'm really worried that I would plan this beautiful day, it would be stunning, it'd be months, maybe even a year of planning probably is what it would take me to do, and then it would go by so quickly, the wedding day, that I'd be like, oh, I wish I hadn't have bothered. Like, I wish I'd had like quite a cheap budget wedding, because I don't really remember the day. I didn't enjoy the day because I was nervous, and it was kind of a waste of all that energy that I ploughed into it. Tell me, if you're married, was your wedding day, obviously I know your expectations aren't going to perfectly line up with what you thought it was going to be, but would you have rather like spent less, or are you like, no, I loved my wedding, I planned it exactly as I wanted and I enjoyed it, I really did enjoy it and savor the moment of it? Or was it like it went by in a blink of an eye and I wish I hadn't bothered? So that is my reasons for not wanting a wedding. But then every time I think about it, I think, yeah, but you have such a clear vision of what you want. It's not like, oh, I'm unmotivated because I can't think what I want for a wedding, or I can't imagine it. I'm like, I know exactly what I want. Like, I have everything planned, like in my head. Obviously, like to actually put it into practice would be a huge thing. But I know the vision of what I want. But do I want to plan all that? No. Do I want to get a wedding planner? No, absolutely not. I feel like wedding planners, that's not even an English thing. I'm sure there are wedding planners in England, but I feel like you have to be like quite wealthy to get a wedding planner, because it feels like such an American thing when you're watching like American rom-coms. They're like, I've got a wedding planner. I love that Bride Wars. It's with Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway. I love it. They're best friends and they are getting married at the same time, and then it turns into like a competition between the two of them of who's going to have the better wedding, and they start sabotaging each other. But they have wedding planners in it, and they get like this wedding planner that they've always dreamt of having. I feel like it's more like if you have money, it's more of a thing. But in England, if someone told me they had a wedding planner, I'd be thinking, like, do you live in Mayfair, Chelsea? Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like a normal thing to have a wedding planner, so I wouldn't get someone to plan it for me. But I just feel it'd just be such a huge thing, and then what if I didn't really enjoy the day? And I don't want to waste all that kind of energy and time into it if I'm not going to really love the day. Also, I should probably say Dom's stance on getting married. Dom would like to get married, but for financial reasons. So he is just like, we should probably get married because if something happened to him, then I'd be like looked after under English law, because he hasn't got a will and because we're not married. So if we got married, so it's like not romantic. Do you know what I mean? Like, probably when we got engaged, it was very romantic. We didn't have kids yet. We didn't have like a mortgage like we have now. And just get married like when you get engaged. Don't do the whole long engagement thing. If the whole like virus thing hadn't happened, planned a really lovely wedding, and we would have had a great little wedding day, and I might not have actually remembered it, but I'd have the photos and videos to look back on. But now so much time has passed, it's just all got very like logistical. I don't know. I don't know if we're actually going to get married. That's the answer to that question, because I don't know if we're going to get married when the boys are older, or if I'm just going to get it. Dom doesn't want to plan the wedding, but he does want a wedding. Or if I'm just going to get it together and be like, okay, like 2 years time, let's get married. So then I've got 2 years to plan this wedding. Or if maybe we just won't get married and that will be it, and we'll just like stay engaged. There's something quite romantic about like staying engaged, being like, oh, my boyfriend. Because like my husband, I don't know if I love the ring of that. Like, oh, this is my husband, this is my wife, okay, like this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend. It sounds fresh. And the worst one, this is my spouse. That word, I don't know why I just hate it. It sounds like an obligation, doesn't it? This is my spouse. Like, this is my contractual agreement, my spouse. Are we getting married? Who knows? That's the answer to that question. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I may end up having 10 children. I don't know. My great-grandma had 11 babies. So she was in Northern Ireland, so it was a different time. But still, she had 11 children, and all of them were like healthy, and they all went all around the world, because my grandma came to England. Obviously I was born in England, and then they went New Zealand, all around the world. So I may have 11 children, and I'm just traveling all around the world to see my kid. Oh, that one's moved to this country, that one's moved to this country. What's that thing of like that woman who lived in a shoe? That might be me. I'm living in a shoe because I've bankrupted myself with 11 children trying to replicate my great grandma, and then now I'm spending the rest of my life traveling to try and see my many grandchildren in many different countries. So on that note, we'll end it. Maybe that's what's in store for me. I'm going to end this here. Leave me questions down below, because no one left me any other questions, but that was a very juicy question, so I did like that one. So any question, books, personal, get as personal as you like, I don't mind. Leave the questions down below, and I will either give them their own individual video, or like this Tay Talk style video, or I will group some of them together. So leave your questions down below. I'm going to go now, and I will see you again soon for another video.